Hey everybody! So I this morning am doing French toast. So I don't have anything to no. Let me see. Put this up a little bit more. Oh yeah, that works. That works. Okay. So I've already buttered my pan and I've soaked some of my toast. Today I'm using Pepperidge Farm Swirl Lemon Blueberry, and I have prepped some 4 eggs, about a cup of milk, and I put some apple pie spice inside of here, and I have also just whipped that together, and now I'm ready to put it in the pan. Now this has been soaking, so this bread is really heavy, and I think that you want a good heavy because it soaks in a lot of the protein and a lot of the egg, so when you eat it, it's more nutritious for you. It's more filling. The only thing you need is 1 slice, maybe 2. This is not a kind of bread that you put on high heat at all. You want to let it cook. Oh yeah, and I put a little touch of sugar in there too. But we have a lot of food that we need to get through. And what I like to do is send my kids back to their father with some stuff so they can have that to take home, back to the place that they're staying at. And be happy, you know, have a little taste of mommy with them. So let me rinse off my fingers. I have already started off my day with some of that rice right there in the background. I like that stuff. I'm very new to it, and I'm telling you, I have seen a huge difference in myself. Like, I do have energy, but I'm not using it so I can get some sort of a jolt of energy. I'm using it so it can help balance my hormones for real. And because I was thrust into menopause, and I don't know why until maybe a couple of weeks ago when I started to do a little bit of research. And boy, oh boy, I'm going to do a video on that. I am angry at why I am going through this, because I shouldn't be going through this at my young age. But it wasn't until another family member who is way younger than me said that she is going through the same thing, and I was pissed. That's when I started doing more research, and a lot of people are just not putting this together. And the problem is not the people who have put a little bit of it together. They are just brushing the surface of this, and it's terrible. It's terrible. As a matter of fact, why don't I just go ahead and tell you guys now? So I'm doing this French toast, and I'll let you know what's going on with my scrambled eggs. Hold on. So, you guys, the reason why I believe I am going through menopause at such an early age is because of the C19 vaccine. Why, you might say, that is? Well, hold on. Straight up. They don't stick. So this is not my house. I'm in an Airbnb in Alabama, because when my ex lied on the stand and took my children from me in the court, and they believed him over me because of privilege, they're staying down here with him. And so I need people to pray for me. But anyway, this right here just makes me remember and think so much more about my life, you know. And I really, like, my whole entire life I wanted children. I wanted children from the time I was 10 years old. That's when I first started being able to have children, was when I was 10. And I was just like, yes. Because of course I had people around me telling me that, you know, that's what my role was. I come from a very conservative background. I don't equate conservatism, if that's a word, to any political party. The views that a lot of black people have, believe it or not, is very conservative. The reason why we vote the way we vote is because we believe that the person who will do the most for us should get our vote. And so that's the reason why we vote the way we do. It's not because we are some dirty liberals. No, we vote the way we feel like, and that's the way you should vote. You know, we vote the way, black people vote the way you should vote. And so if somebody can't do anything for me, if they don't like us, why would we vote for them? So we don't. And, you know, we are the number one people who have been impacted by medical experiments, like hands down, medical experiments like mad. And so we don't want to take a vaccine more than you don't want to take a vaccine. I pride myself on not taking the flu shot every year. What for? What for? If I get the flu, I get the flu. Who cares? But everybody cared about C-19. My son was infected with it, and it was a long, drawn-out process. And for his safety, I've always said that I'm not going to tell this story, and I didn't. I'm telling mine. So, but while my kid was in the hospital, I learned a lot about. I learned a lot about the virus. I had to be quarantined in there with him. Every day was changing as far as like what we can do or can't do. But the number one thing that was there was the fact that we couldn't leave. So I was there for everything. Everything that he had to endure, I was there for. And I mean, even the surgical procedures that they put him through, I was there. Hey, honey. I'm almost done. I'm gonna get some eggs going, and then you can eat that, okay? Scrambled eggs. I got you. Should be like one more piece that I can do here. Get it in there. So, but yeah. So with that said, when I was in there, I learned a lot, and my little dude had it bad, right? He had some stuff that they didn't even have an answer for. They didn't even have a name for at that time. And so everything was touch and go in there. But I do remember them saying that his inflammatory response was due to a genetic predisposition that a lot of black people have. White people have it too. But they started talking about A1C. They started talking about inflammatory systems and genetics, genes, proteins that's in your body that have an anomaly. And so I was like, okay, well, yeah, I hear all that and everything. And, you know, whatever I could do to just, I mean, okay, so she told me. But then later on, the C19 vaccine came out, right? Came out, and I was happy to get it because by that time, I lost my mom to it. She passed away from it alone in a nursing home, so she was one of those people. Then I also I didn't know when or if I ever had it, but they started offering those things where you could get a test to see if you carry the antibody. And so I did that, and lo and behold, I had the antibody to it, right? Which means that at some point in time, I was infected. I can pretty much trace back to being in the hospital as the time that, you know, I must have gotten it. But after I had gotten the vaccine, you know, I did have responses to it. I did have, like immediately. I had brain fog, I had a few other different things going on. But I didn't think too much of it. I remember the monitor asked me if I was having symptoms, and, you know, and I said no. It was hard for me to walk out of there though. But I didn't want to be bothered. You know, I feel like you already gave me the shot, so if I have symptoms, what are you going to do? But anyway, later on, oh my gosh, later on I had all kinds of stuff happen to me. I had heart palpitations, I had shortness of breath, like, it was like the lie that the flu vaccine won't give you the flu. And every time I got the flu vaccine, I got sick. And so I stay away from it for that reason and other reasons. But for sure, I was like having these crazy, I had to go to the emergency room twice after taking the vaccine. And, but I did that because I wanted to shield my children from whatever I may have gotten sick with. I didn't want to give it to them. I didn't want to die because my children were so young, 4 years old. And so I opted to get the shot, you know. I don't think it was mandatory at that point because I got the shot when it first came out. And my job was offering it, and so I was just like, okay. So there's that. But the only thing I was thinking was the preservation of my children. Now, fast forward, I got one shot, the second shot, because they said you needed to have 2. After 2 weeks, you get 2. And then later on, you get another one. Yeah, a booster, you know, kind of like the flu shot. So after a year and some, I had opted to do that because I vaccinated my children as well. They didn't have it, the vaccine, and so I went ahead and I got it for them because of what happened with my kid in the hospital. I didn't want that to happen again. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Anyone, not even my worst enemy. And so with that said, I didn't feel bad about it, but I got that booster, so I got the same thing that they got. And now, right after that, it was like I was experiencing problems from the beginning we're having my menses a few times faster, more than I was used to, and I couldn't understand why. I got it every 2 weeks, you know, sometimes every 9 days. Like, I was just continuously, you know, going through that process, and that's not normal for me at all. You know, I was absolutely irregular before, but it was an irregularity where it came every 25 days, 24 days, sometimes every 21 days, but not every 9 days. So think about it. I would go through for like 3 or 4 days or whatever, and then I would be chilling for a few days, which that is not normal either. And then I would come on again. And I was like, what's going on? So I asked my girlfriend, what's going on? Hey, she says, I don't know. Then months later on, after it continues to happen, I asked her again. I was like, have you been hearing anything? Because she's in the medical field. And she said, well, you know, some people have those issues with the shot. And so I was like, okay. But it wasn't, the first 2 that I had was Moderna. The third one that I had was the Pfizer shot. And I wanted the Pfizer shot to begin with because I thought that it was a better shot. I thought it was more potent, more safe. But yeah, so that's what I thought. And I was happy to get that when I got the last shot. So I got that last shot, like, it was like November? No, it wasn't. It was in the summertime. But anyway, so by September, it was like June. It was like June. It was early June. I remember because I did not want my kids to come down to Alabama and not be vaccinated, because if they would have gotten sick, I would have been upset. And so I did that. Yeah, that was June. Early June. 2023. So, hold on. There we go. So yeah. So then I stopped having my joint. I stopped having it altogether. And it was just out of the blue. And you know, I don't understand why. I hope that was too much. It was 5 eggs though. But yeah, so I'm really trying to figure out what's going on. I'm waiting for it to come back because, you know, I'm thinking that it's just a fluke. It's gonna come back. People are saying there's no way I was in menopause because I'm too young for that, and I don't have any problems. Everything was regular and normal and everything. And so I got my hormones tested, and my hormones test came back saying, girl, you in trouble. All right. And so I was like, well, you know, what's good? And came back that they couldn't understand why at first, but there's this one hormone. It begins with an M. I believe it begins with an M. Nobody talks about this particular hormone. Nobody. My doctor, she let me know about it. She's the one who got all the way down in my stuff, in my blood work, and she came up with what is going on. And she's the reason why I know what's going on. Like my body, they scream for this one particular hormone that comes from your head, right? And it tells your ovaries to go do stuff. And with that hormone telling your body to go do stuff, it's like, okay, let's get this crescendo together of what needs to happen in order to create this follicle, release this egg, and go through the process. Your uterus will respond by the wall thickening. Your other hormones will come together and say, okay, we on standby. And none of those things was happening to me. Because that one hormone that says, hey, do this, wasn't happening. There's the hormone in my brain that told my ovaries to, gear up. It was a disconnect, because that one hormone that needs to be there to say, hey, this is what she wants, wasn't there to link up with that other hormone and get together and make nice. And so there are follicles. I still produce, my eggs are not dry, they're not scrambled. I still have the ability to have a follicle, but without that one particular hormone to link up with the rest of me, my body cannot grow that follicle. And it's because of an inflammatory response with A1C or something, receptor uptake, whatever, blah, 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 right? And it has a lot to do with the COVID vaccine shutting that portion of you off, so you don't have the inflammatory response that will send you to the hospital, like I had to sit in the hospital with my son on a ventilator. But that particular hormone also stops a woman from being able to produce her egg and procreate. Is it everyone? No. Is it all the time? No. But black people are predispositioned to have this issue with this particular hormone. Have you guys noticed that the birth rates have gone down? Yes, women are probably strapping up a whole lot more. Yes, women are being selective about whoever it is that they want to be with. Yes, women are probably using more birth control in other different ways. But all in all, the nitty-gritty of it is, if you had that shot, you probably ain't getting pregnant anyway. It is a form of eugenics, in my opinion. It is a form of eugenics in a way to make us stop being able to procreate and have children. But you know what? Everything that they do backfires spectacularly. Hold on. And one of the ways that this C19 has backfired on them is that you can't make a targeted response for this stuff. So this stuff doesn't just affect black people. It affects everyone. And so birth rates are down everywhere because of a myriad of reasons. One of them ways, a big way, is that C19 shot. I don't know if there's a way to reverse it. I don't think that there is. I've tried to do as much research on it as possible, and I can't, because it is in there messing with your system. I came across this drug that they're trying to give people to make them feel happy, and when I'm looking at it, it's a peptide, And when I'm looking at it, a video that a guy did on YouTube was saying you shouldn't go around messing with your endocrine system. You shouldn't go around trying to take all of these different things that will affect everything in your body. So it'll turn on certain receptors in your mind, in your body, and regulate you. And that right there is what the C19 shot does. It affects your endocrine system, not your defense system. So if the virus comes to you and it's in your system, the virus is supposed to talk to the cells, and the cells are supposed to go, hey guys, I already know what's going on, let's do this. No. The shot also affects your endocrine system. That means your brain and the signals that your brain sends out. It's not just your cells. It's a whole nother system of things. And that is the reason why they want the mRNA shot and everything trashed, gone. Don't give nobody that no more. I don't know who you are that's watching it. Hi, I appreciate you being in here and watching my live. What I'm telling you is true. Spread the word. Look it up yourself. I just pieced it together because I'm going through this. And it dawned on me that, wait a minute, the reason why it affects people in the way that I'm saying that the C19 shot affects people is because of the same A1C and A something, whatever other things that affected my son, to have him be put in a coma so he can survive through the COVID system problem. And, you know, like he had to be induced into a coma so his body could recover, because his anti-inflammatory system was going nuts. He got that from me. I have that in my system, that when an inflammation comes, my body goes nuts. I have eczema, everything. So, but I know how to control it. But when you introduce things outside of yourself, it affects you crazy. And that's what this C19 shot did. Now, I'll take it again, because I was doing something that would protect my children. But even if I knew what was going to happen, because if I could do anything to preserve the life of my children, then I will. Even take a deadly shot, or a shot that's going to cut stuff off and not render me to be able to do stuff. However, would I give it to my children? Absolutely not. Would I tell other people to get it? Absolutely not. I think the reason why a lot of the MAGA people were so opposed to it was because somebody in that system knew about it, and they wanted to spread it throughout their people so that they did not take it. It's just so much that they lie to us about. So many people that were experimented on, you know. And now I can't have kids. I don't know if there's something that can bring my system back to working correctly, but I'm taking fungreek and maca root and forskolin as a mood and regulator for your hormones naturally, and hopefully things will right their ways. But I am in full-blown menopause. And it happened overnight. And it happened after I started going through it, right after I took those shots. And my family member that I was referring to that came up to me and said that they were having problems having kids, and it happened after the shot, because that was the only thing that they can point to, as well as me. She is in her early 30s. My family is very fertile. I have 50-year-olds in my family who still can have kids. Why am I in my early 40s going through this? It's because of the C19 shot. I believe it's eugenics. There's plenty of stories out there that you can look up that talk about menopause, and that's another thing. Have you guys noticed that there are just a whole plethora of women that are thrust into menopause at the same time? I do not think this is a coincidence. Everybody and their mama's talking about having their hot flashes, and they're going through their menopause. It's all of the different influencers, everybody, all of us who took that shot, especially, are talking about going through menopause. There are people who are talking about going through early menopause. This is prevalent, and the societal way to look at a woman who is going through the change is, it's about shame and guilt and no. I believe that we should call things what they are. It's natural, it's human, it's what it is, right? So me going through menopause, I tell people, look, I'm going through menopause. I can't have nobody's kids no more. I got a hot flash. My kids help me wave off my hot flashes when I get them. Okay, there's no shame in my game at all about that, and there shouldn't be any shame in anybody else's. And the reason why people are not talking about this louder is because of the societal shame that people have received from saying that you're going through the change. It's like, oh, you're an old maid. I'm not an old maid. I'm a young, vivacious, beautiful soul. I am lucky, I am blessed. And I'm also the victim of medical experimentation. And I am angry about that. And I am spreading the word about that. So the reason why a lot of people hey, you guys, food. Y'all ready to eat?
Yes, I'm ready to eat.
Okay, so we got 2 plates there. So we're going to have to divide up these plates, and I'm going to use this. But yeah. So all of this chatter about going through and stopping people from taking the vaccine. They don't want kids to take the vaccine. They don't want us just to take the vaccine. They don't want to give it to you anymore. I started asking questions like, what? Why? Like, that doesn't even make sense. I said, they know something that other people don't know. And then when, and it's just out of the blue, it's a fluke. My little family member came to me and said, hey, I'm having trouble having kids. And I was just like, there's no way you, young lady, should be having problems having kids. You're too young, too vivacious for that. This family is very super duper fertile. Like, what is this? And it's because of that. And it just happened to coincide with the announcement of that. And I think the reason is because they don't want to lose anymore. Because, look, they even reversed Roe. They even reversed Roe. And people are still having issues having kids. And it's because of the shot. All right, you guys. Come on now. Here. I got some syrup. Here you go. Before it get cold. Yeah, here's the syrup. You can take. Hold on. Let me open it up for you. But yeah, that's the reason why. And they need to say what is going on. They need to speak up, and they need to be real with the American public. You know, I don't know what it does to men that might, I don't know what it does to men, but I know the thinking of this particular administration is they want people to have babies. Well, how could you have babies if you're also giving them access to something that's going to stop them from having babies? That's going to stop older women from having babies. You know, a baby is a baby in their eyes, but they're stopping all that because of their policies, because of the things that they have. So yeah, it makes perfect sense of why they will rail against the C-19 shot. It makes perfect sense. Who knows what it does to a baby in utero? Maybe it stops that baby from ever being able to have kids. Do y'all want to do that? But I get it. If you get COVID while you're pregnant, you probably die. The baby come out, just not vaccinated from it. The baby can probably pass away. I get that. I get it. And so that's why it's a catch-22. How we live our lives, what we do, everything is a catch-22. Can they do it over and take out the fact that it affects your endocrine system? Maybe. Would you want to be experimented on with that new shot to see if it works like that? Probably absolutely not. But, yeah. I didn't come on here to say that. I came on here so I could make French toast. But my kids are up. I'm having my visitation. And I'm going to enjoy that. Life gave me lemons. And I'm making lemonade. And I hope I helped somebody out. Whoever's watching, I hope I helped you out. Oh, Elizabeth. Hold on. Elizabeth MC 129. Is that you there? Say hi if it is. Hi. Hi. I hope you have a fantastic day. And I hope that it was enlightening, and I hope that you spread the word. I don't know how to repost my lives. I don't know if other people can access my lives. After this, I don't know. I hope so. Because I believe that the word needs to be spread about this. But it's a catch-22. It is a catch-22. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. Quite literally. All right, bye. Thanks for joining my live and seeing me cook some French toast. And I hope that you do it the same way. Whatever flavors that you want, do it. It's delicious. La, 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 la.